It took quite a while contemplating how I was going to start this video. Initially, I was going to do a less than favorable reaction to the gameplay reveal for Icon's Combat Arena shown at this year's EVO. However, I decided to bide my time and wait, so I could filter my thoughts and have a more mature response to the gameplay we've seen since then. I took a bit more time than I would have wanted, but I have a lot of hobbies, so I put the video off a bit, so sue me. But now that I'm doing the video, I want to preface this introspection by acknowledging that there's actually a very real possibility that the developers of the game will see this video, as most things posted to the subreddit get a developer response personally. Because of this, I hope that the developers see this video as a documentation of the evolution of a fan's opinion of their burgeoning game, and perhaps this will give them some insight into how some people have seen the game and how they will come to see the game in the future, as long as they make the right decisions. Without further ado, let's get started. Before we can look at Icons itself, it's important to understand who Wavedash, the company behind the game, is. To do this, you, the viewer, must be made aware of a bit of Smash Bros. History. Smash Bros. Melee on the Nintendo GameCube was a game meant to be played as a party game, but to this day, more than a decade later, almost 2 decades later, it is a powerful presence in the fighting game community and has a deep and enriching combat system. The sequel to this game, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, was seen by the majority of the community as competitively inferior due to its much slower combat and, oh god, tripping. In the wake of this, a small community of modders created a mod of Brawl, which changed the physics engine to replicate Melee, but with Brawl's selection of characters. This mod was called Project M. Why is this important? Well, this is important because Wavedash has its roots, at least in part, in the development team behind that very mod. Obviously, Wavedash isn't made only of people who worked on Project M, as it's employed many people ranging from Riot to EA since then. But knowing that some developers within Wavedash have worked on a Smash Bros. Mod before provides an interesting perspective on how they approached Icons. With this backstory in mind, let's have a look at Icons gameplay reveal trailer. Wavedash Games intentionally made a lot of movesets and archetypes harken back to Super Smash Bros. In order to make fans feel more comfortable. But to anyone not aware of the company's roots, the trailer came off as very bootleg. Lots of comparisons were being thrown around about how the game ripped off Smash on an equal or worse level than some Chinese ripoffs of Overwatch. Even myself, being well aware of the roots of Wavedash, was actually quite disappointed. Though I could understand their strategy in trying to appeal to Smash fans, I could not excuse what seemed like blatant plagiarism. In Project M, it made sense that movesets they created drew heavily from Nintendo characters because it was a mod of a Smash game that has Nintendo characters in it, of course. However, for a title that is meant to stand on its own, develop its own universe, its own story, its own characters, the references to Smash seemed less of a tribute to that franchise and more of a theft of its ideas. It's difficult to create characters that are wholly unique, of course, but the worst thing a developer would want someone to say about their character is, oh, so this character is like X from, like, this is like X character from Y game, but with A instead of B. That happened a lot in Icons. People said stuff like, oh, so Kid is Fox and Falco, except he has a different side B, and Ashani is Captain Falcon, and Zerong is Marth, and Xana has Ganondorf's, side B and stuff like that, etc. The reason this is bad for a game is because the character's identity becomes replaced with whatever it is the community associates with them, and their personas become a weaker version of themselves. The game, music, gameplay, and sound effects especially, all appeared to be equally uninspired, and it showed in the initial reaction to the gameplay reveal. This is probably when my opinion was at its lowest for the game, because I didn't believe Icons was being developed to be truly original. This was around the time that I did my last video where I made the joke at the end about how I was going to make a video about how Icons was a ripoff of Smash, because that's how it appeared to be, especially for most people. However, a knee-jerk reaction video would certainly never make for informative content, even if it could be entertaining. It's usually best to sit back and wait for things to unfold, to develop a much more informed, mature opinion about whatever medium is being discussed. So that's exactly what I did. I'm going to be direct here with my current opinion. pretty much everything else revealed since the initial gameplay trailer at EVO has given me steadily more and more hope for the series. We've seen changes to animations, a promise from the developers that they've heard concerns about the sound effects, and even entirely new mechanics such as Gust Shield. To quickly summarize, everyone's shield in Smash and in Icons has their own health that regenerates when the shield is not in use. In this game, when you press the B button, or any button that you've mapped to your special move, while holding your shield loses a bunch of health, but it lets out a wind box in all directions that pushes opponents away. This mechanic is unique to Icons as far as I can tell, and it's a welcome addition. We've seen fleshed out movesets from the characters in the game, which focuses more on how characters are unique, rather than the gameplay reveal trailer at EVO, which focused on how characters were similar to those who appeared in Smash Bros. This was a welcome change, and I wish they had taken that direction with the reveal. Personally, I would not have blown my load early and shown gameplay at EVO for Icons when it clearly was not ready. But I also can't really blame Wavedash Games for not wanting to pass up an opportunity like a EVO stream presentation. So now I've given you my past impression when the gameplay reveal trailer came out, and I've given you my current impression, which is actually quite hopeful. But I now want to address some stuff going into the future. It's just one major concern, and I want to use Zerong as a springboard to do so. I mentioned that after the initial reveal trailer, Wavedash has shown us pretty well how these characters have evolved to become just a bit more unique. Even though Kid the Goat plays very similarly to Fox and Falco, he has enough unique elements in his kit. At least that's the general consensus from people who've played the demo at Super Smash Con. This is not the case for Zerong. My opinion of Zerong is still pretty poor, which is such a shame because she probably has my favorite character design out of all of those revealed so far. They made very little effort to differentiate her from Melee Marth, who they obviously took inspiration for the character. We saw her counter, which, while being a counter like Marth, propels her forward after the move concludes. This was really cool because it evolves on a previously existing concept but allows her to follow up on the counter, which makes its applications more varied than just being a "ooh, get off me" move. However, everything else is pretty much a carbon copy with a few exceptions. Her side B even allows her to stall her aerial momentum in the air so that she can get to the stage easier. Similar up B. I've heard that the neutral B is also really similar, and all of her A attacks are the same with the exception of, I think, jab and back air. So very, very similar. This is something that I think I should delve into a bit more, actually. And this is key. This is the main issue I wanted to bring up. I understand that Zerong's gameplay was created to emulate Marth, but why does she fight this way? When I say why, I mean her as a character. Why does she fight the way that she does? She is a character. How is her character reflected in her gameplay? To give you the best example that I can think of to illustrate what I mean, Fox's reflector or his shine in Melee. Why does Fox have a reflector? Beyond being a gameplay mechanic, why does Fox as a character have a reflector in his kit? What use would Fox in his universe have for a reflector, right? Well, from a character perspective, as a hired mercenary, Fox McCloud probably comes under fire quite a bit, so it makes sense for him to have a tool to reflect enemy fire. So it actually makes sense for Fox to have this move in his kit. It was only an accident that Shine became a move that was infamous for being a combo tool at close range within Melee. Now look at Kid, whose down B acts similarly to the Shine in terms of being a combo tool. They took the move and repurposed it for Kid's moveset, but why can Kid do it? What is Kid's down special? What is it even? It's like this energy that he propels from his body. Like, the animation shows kind of a light blue circle emanating from him, but like, what is it? Why can Kid do it? What purpose does his down B serve him in the narrative of his character? Right? If you can't portray that, all people will think of is the comparison between the way that Kid's down B works and the way that Fox's shine works. This is what I mean when I ask why Zerong fights the way she does. She emulates Marth too closely to really bring across why she has the moves that she does. And I think that ultimately hurts her enjoyability. Even something like countering for Marth. It makes sense for Marth to have a counter because in his games, if Marth is attacked, or if any unit in Fire Emblem is attacked, if they're alive, they will do a counter attack after the opponent's attack concludes. So it actually makes sense for him to have a counter within his move set. But why does Zerong have this, besides being a mechanic? We need to know more about Zerong. And the Nintendo characters have the benefit of having their own games to draw from in terms of movesets, but Wavedash has to find a way to portray why these characters have certain abilities within the game itself. She emulates Marth too closely, and I think that ultimately hurts her enjoyability. I would have loved it, by the way, if they repurposed their PM Lin moveset for Zerong's kit, but Wavedash decided to go with a more Marth-centric moveset, so that's their call. That's just my opinion, though. So, I realize this video has been going from topic to topic a little bit, but I'm just kind of vomiting out how I felt about the game initially, what my concerns are now, and I've shed a little bit of light on what I would hope to see more emphasis on in the future. But I'll close with this. If none of you have played PM or Project Melee, I urge you to do so. In my opinion, it is a masterpiece. The fan service that game pays through the characters it works with, or in Roy and Mewtwo's case, revives, is phenomenal. There are 2 fan-made games I urge everyone to play because they are not just fan-made edits to already great games, but they are fully fleshed out, unique games in their own right. The first is AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake, and the second is Project M. Smash 4 is my favorite Smash game in general, but from a gameplay purist perspective, Project M is my favorite Smash title. And yes, I hold it in such high esteem that I refer to it as its own title because it deserves that respect. Once you play PM, understand that in part, the people who worked on that game are developing icons. For me, that gives me near unwavering faith that the game will only improve, as it has done. And so far, that's exactly what we've been seeing. And I eagerly await the beta coming out this fall, and I think that if you've had any reservations about the game's reveal initially, as I did, you should probably put that aside and try the beta for yourself, as I will. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I think if we're lucky, Icon's Combat Arena can be for platform fighters what League of Legends was to MOBAs. Also, Icons is going to be free, so, I mean, can't hurt to try it. Join me in the next video, which I hope I won't take as long to create, where I talk about my top 5 anticipated games from Nintendo that have not been announced or hinted towards at all. I think that'll be an interesting topic. Until then, I hope you have a nice day, and don't forget to sign up for the Icons newsletter for news on the beta for Icons. #not sponsored. Cheers!